Islands of Insight. I have a lot of thoughts and things I want to say about this game, but before I get too into it, let me simply explain what it is. Islands of Insight is a shared open world puzzle game. A key point being puzzle game, and with there being over 10,000 of them, I definitely say that that part holds pretty true. And for the open world, this isn't anything new, and it's pretty great for games in this genre. It allows for the player to explore freely, discover puzzles for themselves, and go at their own pace. This also means if you're, stuck or if you don't enjoy certain puzzles, then you can move on to something else. That's great. Except for one thing, which is quite possibly the biggest puzzle of them all here. And that's that the open world is shared. This means that other people are playing alongside you the entire time. And I just want to start out by saying that this has got to be one of the stupidest ideas I've heard in a while. I would love to hear from whoever thought that making a puzzle game an online MMO was a good idea, because it literally makes zero sense in every possible way. Not only that, but it actually detracts from the experience as well. It strips away the sense of exploration when, there are a bunch of tiny arrows already running around the map, or when you get to a new island, only for there to be a huddle of people already working on the final puzzles. And speaking of puzzles, a large amount of them in this game are based on the environment, or perspective of the player, meaning that other people can straight up spoil the solution for you. For example, one of the many puzzles like this involves standing in a specific spot in order to see every pillar in an area. Well, if you see someone go into that area and solve the puzzle while standing in a spot, then you know exactly where to go without even trying it out on your own. It's honestly insane to me that they thought that this was smart. It's akin to making a shared world visual novel. Who knows, maybe that's their next project. I don't want to spoil their plans. Not to mention, being forced to play online comes with its own onslaught of internet and server issues, but anyways, that's that. While I'm still hating, I may as well bring up the character leveling system and skill tree. Again, no clue why they thought bringing these RPG elements into a game was smart, but at least for all these things, they can be ignored very easily. Personally, I don't care for them one bit, but if you think it's cool, then hey, all the better for you. Really no problem there. Okay, so now, for the actual purpose of the game, the puzzles. And to give some background, so far I've played for about 12 hours, reached level 19 out of 100, completed a few hundred puzzles out of, 10,000, so even though I've seen a large variety of the different puzzle types they have, I've only technically scratched the surface, and these are hence my first impressions. Also, this isn't meant to be a thorough review or anything, so just relax, okay? I'm just saying what it is. So, what do I think then? Well, I think they went too hard. There are too many puzzles. I know that kind of sounds stupid, but my goodness, no matter where you stand in this world, there will always be at least 10 different puzzles in front of you. Just walking from one point of interest to another, you have to pass hundreds of different randomly scattered invitations. It's so distracting, and it takes away from the feeling of progression in the game as well. It's basically just a training ground for ADHD, but where the game does tone this down is on each of the islands that you visit. There are sectioned off areas that act as their own zones, and although still busy there, the puzzles become much more manageable. And this is where the game begins to actually shine a bit. The main puzzles for each of these areas is often the logic ones, which are my favorite by far. I love these guys, and each zone presents a bit of a tutorial for a new logic puzzle, and then progressively gets harder, as they should, and they really do get harder at times, which is really great. They give off big Sudoku and Minesweeper vibes, and take other inspiration from, games such as The Witness, one of the best puzzle games out there. So anytime you see that, good sign, and with that, I'm a pretty big fan of these. That's not all though. For each of these zones, they also have various other puzzles to do. They aren't as big of a focus, and they're more so just pit stops as you continue to work through the real puzzles. So I won't get into all the different types that are here, but for the most part, they boil down to just busy work. They don't take much, if any, thinking at all. It usually is something along the lines of find these hidden cubes, look at this object in a certain way, chase a ball, and so on. Honestly, they're dumb. They really are. They sometimes do nothing but just waste time. Although occasionally I do see how they can serve as a quick break from the logic puzzles, and it does still feel rewarding to knock them off the checklist, but only to an extent, and then they just become annoying. And sadly, a large percentage of the puzzle variety and quantity are these dumb ones. But the light at the end of the tunnel here is that they are mostly optional, and what I call the main puzzles, the logic ones, are still really, really great. So, in conclusion, this game has a whole lot of clutter, but once you learn to block it out and focus on what you want to do, then it can be a blast. It really can. There's a little bit of something here for everyone. There is a little bit of something for no one, but for me, I started out annoyed, but I've since found my groove, and I'm actually super, super ready to see how far it takes me. And that's about it. I mean, that's all I wanted to get off my chest, so let me know what you think, and I guess I'll see you in the next video.